name is Antonius William Wijaya, and my topic will be video games. So, welcome back to the Bedsticks podcast, and our topic today will be VR gaming. With the first release of HTC 5 back in 2015, VR gaming has become this kind of niche among gamers on whether they could buy it or not, since there were no exclusives yet in that field and no quality games that could possibly demand for better headsets. VR gaming has become this kind of niche in gaming where only enthusiasts and hardcore gamers wanted this kind of technology. But 2020 has become a kind of year where VR gaming is no longer a fad in gaming, but now an established medium. And because of this, Half-Life Alyx and Oculus Quest has helped tremendously in making VR mainstream and easy to use while also being fun to play. So let's talk about the former, Half-Life Alyx. Half-Life Alyx has been the talk of summer for 2020 in the gaming industry. With its smart gameplay and intuitive design, Half-Life Alyx has done what VR games haven't done in the first time, which is making an actual VR game not feel like a tech demo. What I mean by this is they make it blur the line between fiction and reality, where the game mechanics feel so smooth, but you also need to think outside the box sometimes with this kind of game. And everything makes you immersed into this game while not really having to do much at all to improve upon the formula of VR gaming. So let's take an example of what Half-Life Alyx did that improved upon the gameplay of VR games with the use of gravity gloves. Gravity gloves are the main things you pick up in Half-Life Alyx to, say, gather ammo or gather health. In most VR games, you are forced to either crouch down and grab your item, which is, to say the least, not convenient for the player and will make them very tired easily, or grabbing them in a straight line and having to cast them accurately. Half-Life Alyx has a kind of system where you do not need to make it so that you have to catch accurately or stand down to grab an object, but you can just use gestures to open and close your hands. So when you use the open gesture and you bring your hand forward with the object you want to select, it will use the forces of gravity and simulate what kind of physics are used and make it track to your hand. But within 1 feet of distance, you can already just close your hand using the close gesture, and it will instantly grab into your hand without you actually knowing it because it's happening really fast while also being really natural. So it kind of shows that you don't need to simulate reality to one-on-one with VR gaming, and you could cheat a little bit on the mechanics. Even in firefights and combat, you are not doing solely one thing and focus on one thing. You can bandage yourself while shooting the enemy, or say run around the map gathering for ammo while trying to avoid enemies in stealth. It's a very intuitive game design, and it's very natural and blurs the line between how players interact with games and how they break the immersion with some immersion breaking things. What makes Half-Life Alyx so good is that it doesn't make the player play the game, but experience the game. And I think it'll be the new standard for gaming in the next 5 years, with more and more releases leaning towards the game design of Half-Life Alyx with its natural and intuitive game design. So now let's talk about the Oculus Quest. The Oculus Quest has been the talk of all VR headsets because of its affordability and convenience to a common audience. This has been what was dreamed about in so many people's minds back in 2015 about an affordable and accessible game VR headset, where I don't need to implement 4 different cameras in my room or use wires to connect to my PC. None of that. And now I can just basically download the Oculus app in my kind of computer and just put it in, install Half-Life Alyx on my computer, and instantly play without any need of third-party software or extra mounting or even extra equipment to be used. So it's become the kind of common headset to use for new players to experiment with VR. What the Oculus Quest did was treat a VR gaming headset like a console, where it's as affordable as possible, but comes with the best features you could find, like in the PS5 and the new Xbox Series X. It combines the best technology we have in VR right now for in and out tracking, while also having the most affordable cost out of any VR gaming headset we've ever seen in a premium from an established company. So we know now that VR gaming is no longer a niche between hardcore gamers and enthusiasts, but now a common ground for everyone to experience. We can see now that a lot of people have been experimenting with VR for its uses, like an example of a YouTuber named Leadhead, where he made his own room in VR. And he documented this kind of experience where he didn't really feel any difference between the VR room and his own room, and that it questions him to think about how we could make VR this kind of experience that could help people in the quality of life. So, a lot of people right now have been living in really bad situations, and maybe VR could alleviate this problem by making them or letting them customize their own space and making virtual spaces so they can focus better and do their jobs better, or even make them more comfortable with their environment. But it also brings up this kind of question on when do we stop blurring the line between fiction and reality with VR? With this, a lot of people will escape from their real world and just experience their own world in VR and not have to deal with real world problems. And makes kind of dependency on VR where people won't actually live in their real world anymore and just escape to their VR world where they won't do anything besides just relaxing or, say, not doing anything productive. And I think it's the job of those companies to try to mitigate those problems in VR where you could use it as an improvement for quality of life, but not use it as a dependent tool for escaping your problems. And helping this technology of VR is ray tracing, where now we can simulate real life lighting without having to actually simulate it in a fixed way. So it kind of makes the idea of living in a virtual world more and more realistic in each coming year. So with the release of the new VR headsets and the new GPU lines, VR gaming has become more and more realistic in each coming day, and now more tech demos. We can use VR gaming as a kind of replacement now for real life, whether you think it's good or not. So this ends our discussion of VR gaming and how immersion can blur the line between reality and fiction for VR. Whether you like the idea of living in your own world or kind of think about the dystopian future like in Ready Player One, it's up to you. This has been the Breadsticks Podcast. We're signing off.